Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahansa Parikacharya Astotra Sasya Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahansa Parikacharya Astotra Sasya Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki Jai. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय. नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जय. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय. श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिवर धाम की जय. वृंदावन धाम की जय. मथुरा धाम की जय. मायापुर नदी धाम की जय. जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय. गंगा मई यमुना मई की जय. तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की जय. समवेत भक्तवृंद की जय. All glories assembled yogis. All glories assembled yogis. All glories assembled yogis. All glories Shivren Gaurang.
Jai Jai Jai. Thank you, Mahesh Pandit Prabhu. Hare Krishna. And welcome everyone for Srimad Bhagavatam class with His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. It is Friday, September 27th, 2024 in New York, and we're reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 5th chapter tonight, starting with text number 9. And we were going to ask if Ross Prabhu could keep an eye on the chat window and read anything that might show up there. And I'll turn it over to our host, Mahesh Pandit Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Yakendra Prabhu. I thought you said text number 8, is it?
Text number 8 we had read on Wednesday.
Oh, okay, so number 9. Okay, good. All right. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, chapter number 5, entitled Frustration of the Sacrifice of Daksha. And tonight we read from text number 9. Prasuti Mishraha Striya Udgin Chitta Urshurvipako Vrujinasyaiva Tasya Yatpashyantinam Durhitrunam Praveshaha Sutam Satim Adavaidvan Anganam Nagam. Prasuti, the wife of Daksha, along with the other woman assembled, becomes very anxious and said, "This danger has been created by Daksha because of the death of Sati, who, even though completely innocent, quit her body as her sister looked on." Prasuti, being a soft-hearted woman, could immediately understand that the imminent danger approaching was due to the impious activity of the hard-hearted Prajapati Daksha. He was so cruel that he would not save her youngest daughter, Sati, from the act of committing suicide in the presence of her sisters. Sati's mother could understand how much Sati had been pained by the insult of her father. Sati had been present along with the other daughters, and Daksha had purposely received all of them but her, because she happened to be the wife of Lord Shiva. This consideration convinced the wife of Daksha of danger which was now ahead, and thus she knew that Daksha must be prepared to die for his heinous act. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnanjana Shalakaya Chakshuranvitam Taksmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishitam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahim Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhantitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namasute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishubhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Panchakalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubheva cha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. First of all, I would like to pay my obeisances to His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami and all the present devotees in the Zoom class. And thank you for accepting me as your host. So now, on text number 9, Prajapati Daksha's wife Prasuti thought about the cloud that created by this army of people there. She didn't know, but she figured out the danger is coming, and she even thought about her husband's life coming to the end. Last line says she knew that Daksha must be prepared to die for his heinous act. So action and reaction. Action, reaction always follows. In this material world, we have seen all these things ourselves. If you do something wrong, prepare to have some bad action against you. So be always Krishna conscious, and be always think about all the living entity equally, because they have also a super soul living in their heart. So we all see living entity on that level. Okay, so anything else, Maharaj, please?
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaudavani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtita Deshtanane. So here the natural feminine soft-heartedness of Prasuti and the other women is seen as a virtue. Daksha was proud and hard-hearted and sinful for allowing the death of his innocent daughter, and not only allowing it, but instigating it by insulting her. So they could feel sympathy for Sati and outrage at Daksha for having brought this suicide about. And although Daksha had coldly distanced her, they still felt that she's our daughter, she's our sister. So they felt sympathetic. They could understand how she would feel under these circumstances, and essentially they're blaming Daksha for bringing this about, and they're anticipating, foreseeing that there'll be trouble as a result. They could understand that now calamity is going to befall the house. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Ross Prabhu, you're going to keep eye on the chat box, please.
There's a question, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, something from Vijay Krishna Prabhu. If Sati was completely innocent, why did she kill herself?
That's discussed in a previous verse. She would have been right to kill Daksha for having blasphemed Lord Shiva, but she was reluctant to do that. He was her father, so she killed that part of himself that her own life represented.
Thank you, Maharaj. I would like to invite Radhesh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. I'm going to pass it to my father for the first, or if you would like to read.
I was going to go shower.
Okay, I'll read.
Oh, that's your father. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. I I had a thought. I was looking at Sridhar or Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary on the last verse, and he highlights vipaka, and I couldn't help but have Tatenu Kampam Susumikshamano jump into my head. And I was thinking sometimes we have these vipaka experiences and we tolerate because it's due to our past actions. But this one's quite close to home. The past action and the result come quite close together. Daksha messed up and very quickly he has to pay the debt by getting his head taken off. And there's a certain mercy in that vipaka coming very quickly when you can put one and one together. And sometimes I feel like when we don't know why we're getting smashed, then sometimes it's more difficult to understand how to rectify the situation. I don't know if you have some thoughts on that, Guru Maharaj, where it's difficult to trace out why I'm hurt, but if they come close together, then you say, oh, okay, I need to rectify myself. I've offended this Vaishnava and now I'm getting smashed. And then you very quickly understand what it is that you did wrong. It seems like Daksha's fortunate in that way.
Yes.
All right.
A comment from Praveen Prabhu. Sati is the material energy herself. Why has she to undergo such sufferings?
She is the material energy herself. It's pointed out that she doesn't. She could have killed Daksha easily by her own power, but she chooses instead to end her own life. Also, we have to consider that she's taking a role in a pastime here. So by the arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, things are taking place in this way for our own education and upliftment.
Okay, Radhesh Prabhu.
Yastvanta kale vyukta jata kalapa svashula shuchyarpita diggajendra vitatya nirtyatyudita stradordhvajan ucharta hasastanayatnu bhinadik. At the time of dissolution, Lord Shiva's hair is scattered, and he pierces the rulers of the different directions with his trident. He laughs and dances proudly, scattering their hands like flags, as thunder scatters the clouds all over the world. Prasuti, who appreciated the power and strength of her son-in-law, Lord Shiva, is describing what he does at the time of dissolution. This description indicates that the strength of Lord Shiva is so great that Daksha's power could not be set in comparison to it. At the time of dissolution, Lord Shiva, with his trident in hand, dances over the rulers of the different planets, and his hair is scattered just as the clouds are scattered over all directions in order to plunge the different planets into incessant torrents of rain. In the last phase of dissolution, all the planets become inundated with water, and that inundation is caused by the dancing of Lord Shiva. This dance is called the Pralaya dance, or dance of dissolution. Prasuti could understand that the dangers ahead resulted not only from Daksha's having neglected her daughter, but also because of his neglecting the prestige and honor of Lord Shiva. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Guru Dasa Jayadvaita Swami Niti Namini. The rulers of the different directions, Gajendra, they take the form of these powerful elephants holding up the directions, I suppose. I never quite understood the physical manifestation of some of these descriptions, but it's wonderful to picture that here Lord Shiva at the time of dissolution is piercing the very foundation of the material creation and tearing everything up. So what is Daksha's pathetic little power by comparison? He doesn't stand a chance, and yet Daksha is so powerful. Well, I don't want to give too much previews. We're going to read the pastime as it develops, but anyway, his neck is very powerful, and ordinary instruments, even by the great Virabhadra, can't pierce it initially. But anyway, this description of Lord Shiva is quite wonderful, piercing the various elephants of the different direction that maintain the universe, that support everything, and laughing, attahasa. It's some madness appears to be there, and in the face of great anger, sometimes the person laughs, and it's extra frightening. So everything about this description is terrifying in one sense, and brought to mind whenever I see rains of devastation, clouds spreading everywhere, I automatically think of Govardhan Leela, and I think that in the face of this, the greatest of dangers, taking shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vrishti Kina Gopa Vikshano Pajatakopa Kshipta Savya Hasta Padma Dhari Tocha Shaila Shadma Gupta Goshta Raksha Raksha Mam Tatadya Pankajaksha Raksha Raksha Mam Tatadya Pankajaksha. Oh lotus-eyed Lord, please protect me, please protect me. Then even in the face of this great danger, then we're totally taken care of. But separate from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just externally viewing this manifestation, it's absolutely terrifying. And so I'm appreciating the description in this verse. And I wouldn't mind if anybody has some thoughts on, I know elsewhere, I believe hands are described like flags. It's not coming to mind immediately, but I found that description interesting, that the severed hands like flags. That's what I have. If Guru Maharaj, if you have something more.
Who has my husband offended? This is the person who's offended, the person who's so powerful that he displays this amazingly destructive, awesomely destructive energy at the time of dissolution. Here in South Africa, one businessman tried to cheat one of our devotees and defame him in higher circles. But a person close to the matter told him the devotee that he was trying to cheat was very well connected in government and industry and had a reputation for honesty and integrity. So one of the people close to the matter told the cheater, he said, "You don't know who you've taken on." And in fact, it led to the man's own death when he was finally exposed for his cheating, and there was nothing he could do about it. So here you don't realize who you've insulted. You think you're just insulting your son-in-law. You think you're just I don't know what you're thinking, but here's who the real who Lord Shiva really is. So what can we expect but terrible consequences? Hare Krishna.
Praveen Prabhu writes in the chat. Yes, Pradesh Prabhu.
I just had one more comment. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. I like that description. Even within our frame of reference, we see very powerful people where watch out, don't tread on the wrong toes. But I just saw Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary, and he gives a different light on the flag waving, which is something that I was curious about when I first read it. Srila Prabhupada takes it that he's piercing, their hands are flying like flags. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur takes it that Shiva's anger is described in two ways: his locks of hair being scattered, Vyukta Jata Kalapa, and that his arms are raised, or weapons are raised, and he's throwing his arms about like waving flags, and he's dancing. So Shiva's hands are like waving flags. When the wind is very powerful and you see flags being whipped back and forth, even that's a sign that the wind is very powerful. Here in Hawaii, we have a particularly windy place called the Pali Lookout, and you just see people's shirts, flapping behind them. So you picture Shiva's hands moving in this way. It's very nice description by Srila Thakur.
Praveen Prabhu writes, since it is a pastime, can we say the play was arranged by the Lord's internal energy? External energy under the shelter of internal energy? Does this happen?
The internal energy is superior. So the internal energy of the Lord is, yes, what is that? It's Chanarupa Yasya Cheshtate. So the Chayeva Yasya Bhuvanani Bibharti Durga. Durga, or the material energy, is just the shadow of the internal energy. And it's Chanarupa Yasya Cheshtate. So she acts according to the desire of the Supreme Lord. So the desire of the Supreme Lord can be expressed through the desire of his internal potency. So yes, the internal energy can direct activities in such a way that the external energy is moved. Also, just we see in practical matters that Krishna may move the external energy in such a way as to bring about the welfare of the devotee, or bring about something destined for to disclose the glories of a devotee, or in any way that Krishna chooses. So the external energy is mayadhyakshena, prakriti suyate satratra. The external energy moves according to Krishna's direction, and Krishna can direct through his other energies, specifically through his internal energy.
We have a message in chat from Saraswati Devi Mataji. Param Puja Maharaj, we are told to be extremely tolerant like a tree, but often tolerance is seen as weakness and makes the aggressor try to commit even more atrocities. So when should tolerance be not the correct action?
Well, that we were discussing the other day that when a devotee is offended, then tolerance is not appropriate. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the speaker of Trinadapi Sunichena, but when Jagai and Madhai offended Nityananda Prabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had no tolerance for them. So that's one thing. And then there's also that story of Narad Muni and the serpent. Narad Muni made a serpent a devotee, and when the serpent became a disciple, Narad instructed him, now don't bite anyone. So then, all right, but over time the local children discovered that the serpent would no longer bite anyone, so they were torturing him. They'd throw stones on him and so on. So then the next time Narada came by, is everything all right? Well, the children they know now that I've become a Vaishnava, so they won't, they have no fear, and they're throwing stones at me. So Narada instructed the serpent that, yes, don't bite anyone, but that doesn't mean that you can't show your hoods as if you're about to bite. So in that way, a devotee may, for a good cause, be assertive, even if he's the well-wisher of everyone.
Thank you, Maharaj. I would like to invite Vijay Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Mahesh Prabhu, text
Text number
11.
11, yes.
Yes. Amarshayitvatam asahya tejasam manyuplutam durniriksham brukutya karaladam stravirudashta bhaganam syat svastikim kopayatu vidatuhu. Translation. The gigantic black man bared his fearful teeth. By the movements of his brows, he scattered the luminaries all over the sky, and he covered them with his strong, piercing effulgence. Because of the misbehavior of Daksha, even Lord Brahma, Daksha's father, could not have been saved from the great exhibition of anger.
If you would like, you can go on text number 12, please.
Of course,
Just a
Mahesh
quick
Prabhu.
comment.
Oh,
Just a quick comment that Jamstra Karalani Payanakani, the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the universal form is described as having fearful teeth. Jamstra Karalani Payanakani. So here, same term. Karala Damstra Bhi. Hare Krishna.
thank you, Maharaj. Go ahead, Vijay Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Mahesh Prabhu, text 12.
Yes.
Bhavevam udvigna drishu cha mane janena dakshasya muhur mahatmanaha utpetur utpatatama sahasrasho payavaha divi bhumau cha paryak. Translation. While all the people talked amongst themselves, Daksha saw dangerous omens from all sides, from the earth and from the sky. Purport. In this verse, Daksha has been described as Mahatma. The word Mahatma has been commented upon by different commentators in various manners. Viraraghava Acharya has indicated that this word Mahatma means, quote, steady in heart, close quote. That is to say that Daksha was so strong-hearted that even when his beloved daughter was prepared to lay down her life, he was steady and unshaken. But in spite of his being so strong-hearted, he was perturbed when he saw the various disturbances created by the gigantic black demon. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks in this connection that even if one is called Mahatma, a great soul, unless he exhibits the symptoms of a Mahatma, he should be considered a Duratma, or a degraded soul. In Bhagavad Gita 9:13, the word Mahatma describes the pure devotee of the Lord. Mahatmanastu mam parta daivim prakritim ashritahan. A Mahatma is always under the guidance of the internal energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus, how could such a misbehaved person as Daksha be a Mahatma? A Mahatma is supposed to have all the good qualities of the demigods, and thus Daksha, lacking those qualities, could not be called a Mahatma. He should instead be called Duratma, a degraded soul. The word Mahatma, to describe the qualifications of Daksha, is used sarcastically.
Thank you, Vijay Krishna Prabhu. Any thoughts about this?
Yeah, Yes. Om Gyanati Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Shakshurumilitan Yanatasma Shri Gurave Namaha. The definition of a Mahatma given in the purport is that the Mahatma is always under the guidance of the internal energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And based on this definition given by Srila Prabhupada, I do have a question. And if I may, why is it that Gandhi was called a Mahatma? And that is my comment for today. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Yes, Maharaj, please.
By poetic sentiment, the Rabindranath Tagore, the celebrated poet, praised Gandhiji with that term, and it stuck. In the estimation of ordinary people, a great political leader may be a Mahatma. There's a purport where Prabhupada talks about that, how different kinds of people see various other people as Mahatmas, great souls. So a businessman sees a great business leader as a great soul, and here by a kind of sentiment. Also, well, yeah. Anyway, it's a long discussion how Gandhiji came to be seen as more than just a political leader, but as a saintly person. So that's the implication. The term was deliberately selected to indicate that Gandhi was not just a political leader, but a saintly person. Yeah. And of course, then I believe it was the Guardian that commented that he was a saint among politicians and a politician among saints.
We have a comment a question from Praveen Prabhu in the chat. In these chapters, we do not see any direct involvement of Lord Vishnu anywhere. Just highlight the glories of Lord Shiva. How do we understand this?
The glories of the devotees are also the glories of the Lord. The Bhagavat means not just Bhagavan, but those who are Bhagavatas, those who are related with Bhagavan. So Lord Shiva is a great devotee of the personality of Godhead, and he's also, what shall we say, a powerful agent of the personality of Godhead. Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu, he's the greatest of Vaishnavas, and the effects of insulting a great Vaishnava are indicated here.
Thank you, Maharaj. I would like to invite Venkatesh Prabhu, number 13. You can go on 13, 14, unless anybody has a question.
Okay. Thank you. Tavat sarudra nucharair mahamahko nana yudhair vamanake udayudhair pingai pishangair makarodarananai varaya dravadbir vidura. Vardyutaha My dear Vidura, all the followers of Lord Shiva surrounded the arena of sacrifice. They were of short stature and were equipped with various kinds of weapons. Their bodies appeared to be like those of sharks, blackish and yellowish. They ran all around the sacrificial arena and thus began to create disturbances.
So
Text 14.
the crowd is already coming in there now.
Yes, more action awaiting us. Kechid Babhaj Pragvamsham Patni Salam Tatha Pare Sada Agnidra Salam Cha Tadviharam Mahadasam. Some of the soldiers pulled down the pillars which were supporting the pandal of sacrifice. Some of them entered the female quarters. Some began destroying the sacrificial arena, and some entered the kitchen and the residential quarters.
Next, please.
Text 15. Rurujur yajna patrani tathaike gnin anashayam kundeshu amutrayan keche vividhur vedi mekhala. They broke all the pots made for use in the sacrifice, and some of them began to extinguish the sacrificial fire. Some tore down the boundary line of the sacrificial arena, and some passed urine on the arena.
Destruction is coming on now, going on now. Next, please.
Yes. Abhadhantamudinanye eke patnir atar jayan tapare jagruhu devan Pratyasanan Palayitan. Translation. Some blocked the way of the fleeing sages, some threatened the women assembled there, and some arrested the demigods who were fleeing the pandal. Text 17. Brigun
Before we go on,
Bamba.
just Chakravarti Thakur's commentary is worth reading. It's short. They scolded the women with coarse language, or by saying, "Stay here and we will make you widows." Also, Venkatesh Prabhu, you don't have to deal with it now, but somehow you have like a strong mechanical echo when you speak. It's some sort of audio effect that's going on that's disturbing. Maybe you can troubleshoot it between now and when you log on next.
Yes, I think I understood because I kept the original sound. Maybe I should keep it off.
No, right now you are doing good. Just
Okay, fine. All right. Thank you. So now text 17, is it?
yes, 17, right.
Okay. Brigum babanda manina maniman Virabhadraha Prajapatim Chandesha Pushyanam Devam Bhagam Nandishvaro Grahi. Translation. Maniman, one of the followers of Lord Shiva, arrested Brigamuni, and Virabhadra, the black demon, arrested Prajapati. Another follower, who was named Chandesha, arrested Pusha. Nandishvara arrested the demigod Bhaga.
Next, please.
Text 18. Sarva evar tijo drishtva sadasya sa niva unkasha tay ardyamanah subrisham gravabhir naikad dravan. Translation. There was a continuous shower of stones, and all the priests and other members assembled at the sacrifice were put into immense misery. For fear of their lives, they dispersed in different directions. Text 19. Jayadvaita Srutva Tastasya Smasruni Bhagavan Bhava Bhrigor Lulunche Sadasi Yo Hasacham Shru Darshayan. Veerabhadra tore off the moustache of Bhrigu, who was offering the sacrificial oblations with his hands in the fire. Bhagasya netre Bhagavan patitasya vishu bhuvi ujjahara sadasto Krishna sadasto kshana ya sapantam asuchat. Translation. Veerabhadra immediately caught Bhrigu, who had been moving his eyebrows during Daksha's cursing of Lord Shiva, and out of great anger thrust him to the ground and forcibly put out his eyes. Pushno hi, text 21. Pushno hi apatpatayad dantan kalingasya yatha bhala Sapyamane Garimani Yo Hasat Darshayandata. Just as
Sound is
Baladev.
back a little bit. That
Oh.
if you can lower it down, whatever you are doing.
Okay. I'll just take a minute and yeah, I'll do that. Just a minute.
My father is also available to read if you like.
Oh, okay.
Oh yes, that will be nice. Yes,
Text number.
maybe you can read the translation just as Baladev knocked out that.
Okay, number 21. Thank you, Venkatesh Prabhu.
Yes, yes.
How do you make it? Oh, back.
Just as better than you click right.
Oh, okay. Just as Baladev knocked out the teeth of Dantavakra, the king of Kalinga, during the gambling match at the marriage ceremony of Aniruddha, Veerbhadra knocked out the teeth of both Daksha, who had shown them while cursing Lord Shiva, and Pusha, who by smiling sympathetically had also shown his teeth. Purport. Here a reference is made to the marriage of Aniruddha, a grandson of Lord Krishna's. He kidnapped the daughter of Dantavakra, and therefore he was arrested. Just as he was to be punished for the kidnapping, the soldiers from Dwaraka arrived, headed by Balaram, and a fight ensued amongst the Kshatriyas. This sort of fight was very common, especially during marriage ceremonies, when everyone was in a challenging spirit. In that challenging spirit, a fight was sure to occur, and in such fights, there was commonly killing and misfortune. After finishing such fighting, the parties would come to a compromise, and everything would be settled. This Daksha Yajna was similar to such events. Now, all of them, Daksha and the demigods, Bhaga and Pusha and Bhrigu Muni, were punished by the soldiers of Lord Shiva. But later, everything would come to a peaceful end. So the spirit of fighting between one another was not exactly inimical, because everyone was so powerful and wanted to show his strength by Vedic mantra or mystic power. All these fighting skills were very elaborately exhibited by the different parties at the Daksha Yajna.
Seems a little one-sided.
One-sided, yes.
Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur commentary. Just Balaram at the time of Aniruddha's marriage during a game of dice, made the teeth of the king of Kalinga fall out. So, Virabhadra made Pusha's teeth fall out. Garimani refers to Shiva. Datta stands for Dantan, teeth. Another version has Pushnohu in the dual form. Sometimes Indra and Pusha are grouped together, as in the phrase Indra Paushnam Charum, the rice offering of Indra and Pusha. Black Yajurveda, Taittiriya Brahmana. This is a quote from there.
You don't have to read the whole
Okay.
Vishnu Chakravarti.
Okay, thus Virabhadra made the teeth of both Indra and Pusha fall out.
Wow. Any thoughts on this verse?
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Bhashakti Deshatarani. Well, it sounds to me like these guys were all super powerful. So there's some competitive nature in there. And also there's automatically sides being taken because people wanted to support Daksha. He was a powerful person. So he had his group. They were all, hey, we're gonna support you. And that's why sometimes I was thinking in today's society too, you know, if we live in America, so if there's a war or something like that and you see some foreigners come into our country, then you know we'll probably gather arms and have to fight them off. But that's just, it happens to be our circumstance, you know, and that's the same with when on the Kauravas side, all those that were living in Duryodhana's kingdom had to fight for him. So, and there is this certain competitive nature in fighting. You know, some have done their austerities for who knows how long and have like these great powers that they can show, you know, like, hey, check this out, what I can pull off here. So I think I can feel that certain bhava that they might be experiencing, just like going after each other, and it not being as inimical as just, hey, I have this power, you have that power, let's see who can win, like some game like that.
I was also thinking when the severity of the offense is so large, when I was looking at these different personalities, you know, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur was saying that Bhaga was just glancing encouragingly towards Prajapati Daksha. And just that glance was enough to warrant getting his eyes ripped out. You know, Pusha, all these characters, they just made just by simple facial feature. And as Maharaj quoted, you know, facial features on both sides were had powerful effect. Dangsra Karalani, you know, it's like the teeth of the universal form of Lord Shiva are very fearsome, just making these faces, or just the movements of Shiva's eyebrows. Also, Hiranyakashipu is described in a similar way. But I was thinking, just by Bhaga, just glancing encouragingly warranted getting his eyes ripped out. So the severity of the offenses performed, even a slight appreciation thereof, we have to be very careful. Sometimes I've heard a Vaishnav criticized, and sometimes we feel in our hearts that, oh, we agree with this criticism, and you might feel some joy to hear another person criticized, and how careful we have to be. Even a slight appreciation of this aparad can absolutely destroy us. So, and Saraswati Devi had a comment that I appreciated also a little earlier, talking about mob mentality. And sometimes it's easy to get caught up in that mob mentality where you don't necessarily, or as my father was mentioning, you know, you happen to be in that camp, you happen to be under Duryodhana's on his payroll, and so you have to fight. And sometimes you're in that mob and you're fighting, and you're not exactly sure whether you believe in the purpose anymore, but it's just happening. So some thoughts.
Thank you, Rajesh Prabhu, and I appreciate your father's involvement. Thank you very much. What is your father's name?
Deva Deva.
Deva Deva Prabhu. Thank you. So we are at the time, ending the time again. I would invite Krishna Kante Prabhu for Kirtan, please.
Why not again from the island?
Oh, we have a visiting Kirtaniya also. My friend Mukund. He sings very nicely.
Oh, let's have Mukund then, if Krishna Kante Prabhu don't mind.
Bolo bhai. All right, this is Mridanga.
And harmonium maybe.
Would you play harmonium?
Yeah, please.
All right, and I figured out how to enable original sound. While Mukunda grabs the harmonium, I also want to say that this book just came in. We just received it, and I've been reading my son the Nimai series. I highly recommend it. On the first page it states there's a quote from Hans Christian Andersen that says that these books are nicely written. They're appreciable by both the adults and the children. And it's very true. My father and I were laughing quite uproariously last night reading a couple of these chapters. They're very sweet. So I highly recommend the Nimai series for both adults and children. That's my plug. Now we'll have Kirtan.
Thank you.
Krishna Krishna
If you can move a little closer, the harmonium, if you can come closer.
The problem seems to be your settings. Everything's distorted. Maybe that original audio is an experimental feature. You might disable it.
Oh, is it? I tried putting the original audio, but maybe I can do original audio and echo cancellation.
Yes, good.
Let me know if this sounds better. Give a thumbs up if it sounds okay.
Maybe you cannot hear him.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare
You cut out again. Seems like when you're close to the mic, we can hear you, but not when you're farther away.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. My apologies if the sound was off, but if it's any consolation, we had a nice kirtan live. Jayam Vishnupad Paramamsa Parivrajakaacharya Stotra Shata Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramamsa Parivrajakaacharya Stotra Shata Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Se Kaur Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Garadhar Shiva Sari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gokopinath Shyamukund Radhakund Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to some devotees. All glories to some devotees. All glories to some devotees. Nitai Gaura Premanandi. And I beg all of you, please. I wish that our teeth not be knocked out for the offense of not chanting nicely. I'm sorry for. I'll try to toggle the audio settings and fix it for the future. But my apologies again. Thank you all so much for wonderful class.
Thank you. Ekendra Prabhu.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you. Thank you, Maharaj.
You're muted, Maharaj.